Hello and welcome. You're watching BTTV. This is Market Today. I'm Tanya Aneja and with me is Shail Bhatnagar, our markets editor. Well, it's a fresh Monday morning, eventful day ahead, lots to track. But first up, the top headline for you. Indian markets look towards August with high hopes of creating newer record highs as fresh earnings, continuing FII inflows and strong domestic flows into equities keep bulls in business on the Lal Street. Very good morning, Shell. It's a fresh Monday morning. July's fantastic month draws to a close today, and Nifty has gained for the 5th month in a row. So where do you see Nifty, after a 3.6% rally in the July series?
Good morning, Tanya. It's a fresh foot into a new week on Monday. But this is also the last trading session for the month of July. We've had a fantastic rally so far, something like 2.4% on the Nifty and about 2% on the Bank Nifty for July alone. I'm talking about cash Nifty, previous closing month to so far as of now. And we've seen a fantastic, the psychological 20,000 point being almost hit on the Nifty. Let's give it to it. 9 points off, it doesn't matter. Apart from that, a stunning set of numbers coming from both the PSU and the private banking space, and that's injected a fresh momentum in Bank Nifty. Now, this was the story till about the 18th or 19th of July. From then on, we have consolidated in a sideways to a weakish kind of a market, and that's fine. The rally was fantastic, about 1,300 points on the Nifty, 2,900 points on the Bank Nifty. So part of that has been taken back by the market. And as we start Monday, we are at a 2-week low on the Nifty. Nothing much to be worried about. 19,650, it closed flat on Friday. And there was a 2-day down dip. So that's what is happening on the Nifty. The problem starts from here on. None of the sectors that are, heavyweights in terms of banking, in terms of Reliance Industries as a single stock, and in terms of IT are in the uptrend. The only sector that I could think of in terms of, pointing upwards is the pharma space. Apart from that, we've seen fantastic rallies in auto, FMCG, PSU banking baskets, including the CPSC index. Many of these indices have hit record highs, but as I said, now they're consolidating in a weak to the sideways range, and therefore I don't see much momentum happening as far as the Nifty is concerned. You mentioned very well in the first line that the index is up for the 5th month in a row, and that's totaled somewhere like 13%. So, March onwards, 1st of March to 30th of July, the Nifty is up 12.9%, but the previous 2 months, Jan and Feb, were on the weak side. So net impact is 8.5% year to date on Nifty, and that's pretty okay. So I would imagine that today's Nifty would be sideways. The support levels that you see in terms of the options data are 19,700 and 19,800. These are the resistance levels, and you have a very, very strong support at 19,600, 19,550, and that's where the Nifty is so far. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. 19,600, 19,550. That continues to be an important level, so keep an eye on that. But Shell, also, the banking index, which has the highest weight in Nifty too, it closed lower on July 28th and falling over almost 200 points to 45,468 odd level. So what are you looking, on Bank Nifty today?
So Tanya, the same mirror image that you see on the Nifty is reflected exactly similar on the Bank Nifty. Again, a 2-week low, a fantastic run up in the entire month of July. And I failed to mention that our foreign friends have been consistent buyers of equity. during the month. On a net level, they've pumped in somewhere between 24,000, 25,000 crores in the month of July alone. So that has also helped sentiment. But like I said, after hitting record highs on Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, State Bank of India, and a myriad other PSU banking stocks that have seen fresh 3-4 year highs, the bank Nifty is now in a consolidating to a pause mode after hitting a record high. And the same setup that I explained in the Nifty is visible in the bank Nifty. None of the frontline counters, including HDFC, Axis, or ICICI, are showing any kind of magnetism towards making fresh highs. So I would imagine the first week of the weekly expiry of futures and options that ends on August 3rd would see the market go sideways. You will find profit booking happening in some levels, but the most interesting part, of course, would be the pharma space. Nothing much happening on Nifty and Bank Nifty, and that's what I feel is going to happen. Even in the PSU banking basket, the erstwhile heavy beta counters, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Punjab National Bank, all of these are in a sideways consolidative move. So again, a flat to weak trajectory in the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. Consolidation to a pause mode. That's the verdict coming in as far as Bank Nifty is concerned. But let's look at, F&O space as well, Shail. I mean, lots happening there as well. So what are you looking at in, the F&O space today?
So, Tanya, like I said, we've had a fantastic rally in the PSU banking basket, as well as a lot of PSU shares, including the likes of NTPC and Power Grid. So, those are the ones that are there on my radar. Petronet, LNG Petronet, they declared their earnings today. The counter shot up 2.1% on Friday's trade. Very, very strong interest on the open side, up about 9%. And we've seen a very, very strong delivery pattern, about 1.4x as far as compared to Thursday. So this is a lot size of, about 300 shares in the F&O space. And at 229, the stock is poised perhaps for a better uptick. Remember that it's at the PSU side, as well as a strong traction that is likely to come post earnings. So that is one. Apart from that, the entire power pack, including the likes of NTPC, we've seen a decadal high coming on NTPC. That's on the radar for everybody. In fact, it was the top gaining stock in the power space for the month of July, up about 9%. And that traction is likely to continue even today. Tata Power looks very, very good from the power space, 6.4% gains at 237. The sideways consolidative phase that we've seen in the past 3-4 months on Tata Power seems to be ending, up about 8.3% in terms of open interest. And Tanya, the delivery statistics are phenomenal. 4x increase in delivery on Friday compared with Thursday. Very, very strong long build-up happening on Tata Power, and it's in the right sector, power, which is booming. So Petronet LNG, NTPC, Tata Power from the electricity or power pack, as well as from the pharma space, which is sticking very strongly, is Apollo Hospitals. Very strong again, rise in open interest, 5.3% higher, 53.82, and a flattish sort of a delivery. But the charts say that the stock is super bullish in terms of where it is headed. So these are the 3 or 4 stocks that I have in mind on the long side as far as the F&O is concerned. And there's weakness in Axis, ICICI, even HDFC. So that's the balance that you bring up when it comes to the F&O space. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. And let's talk about the global markets as well. All 3 major US indices ended the week with gains, after a slew of big tech earnings, economic data, and central bank announcement. boosted investor confidence in a soft landing for the US economy. The Dow Jones, rose around 176 points to 35,459. S&P 500 gained almost 44 points to 4,582 odd level, and the Nasdaq Composite added almost 266 points. Asian markets, if you look at this point in time, they are also trading in the green. Taiwan, Hang Seng and Nikkei all up over 1%. So, Shail, I want to come to you now that what is really essential to track, now from overseas cues?
Tanya, hand on heart, I would imagine crude oil will play a very, very important role in this quarter. Remember, in the April to June quarter, we've seen crude oil down about 31% over the previous quarter. And in the month of July itself, there is about an 8 to 9% rise. So, rising crude oil prices at a time when markets are trying to negotiate record highs is a bit of a worrisome factor at the back of my head, because it spoils sentiment. Crude at 85, 90 and maybe beyond that sort of puts the bulls on a back foot. You have to justify very high valuations. You have to justify foreign institutional investors that should continue coming in. So it becomes a bit of a bother. Globally, I am only looking at one chart, which is crude oil. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. That's the word coming in. And also, it's the earnings season. So we have, Maruti Suzuki today. The company will be posting its earnings for the first quarter, and the company is likely to see its profits, more than double on a year-on-year basis in this quarter. But on a sequential basis, it is likely to decline. So let's go across to my colleague Pawan Nahar, who is standing by with all the details. Pawan, what can we really expect from Maruti Suzuki?
Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Shail. So, automaker Maruti Suzuki is going to announce its Q1 results today, and total sales are likely to increase slightly around 6% on a year-on-year basis, thanks to better performance from SUV segment. However, sequential growth is likely to take, a bit ease down, seeing a negative growth of around 3%. So revenues are likely to be on the mixed side due to fall in, overall sales and higher discounts on the lower segment or the entry level car segment. But EBITDA is likely to outpace the growth of revenues or the top line, thanks to the richer product mix, better SUV sales, and price hikes, along with the softening of raw material prices. However, negative operating leverage due to maintenance shutdown in June 2023 is likely to dent the EBITDA sequentially. So talking about the numbers, Tanya, the largest car maker in the country is likely to report a net profit of around 2,300 crores to 2,600 crores, which is around 130% to 160% rise on a year-on-year basis. However, the numbers can be flat to slightly down on a sequential basis. Revenue is expected to be in the line of rupees 31,000 crores to 32,500 crores, which is now a growth of 18 to 22% on a year-on-year comparison. But the growth in the top line is likely to be around flat to 6% down on a sequential basis. EBITDA, which is likely to come in around 3,100 crores to 3,500 crores, which is another jump of 75 to 80% on a year-on-year basis. And EBITDA margins are likely to increase around 300 basis points and is likely to be in the range of 9% to 11%. Tanya, I would say that the performance of SUV segment, which is Grand Vitara and its newly launched Invicto, they will be the key for the Maruti Suzuki. That's all from my side, Tanya. Back to you.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks for that, Pawan. And Shail, how are you watching, and what are your thoughts as far as Maruti Suzuki is concerned? And of course, we have July auto sales numbers also tomorrow.
Absolutely, Tanya, you hit it on the head. Tomorrow will be another day as far as Maruti is concerned. Remember, it's Tuesday as well. and the stock has a very strong correlation on the upside when it comes to earnings, when it comes to monthly numbers, and if it's a Tuesday, it's a great setup. But the past quarter has seen Maruti hit a record high of somewhere like 10,055. So we've seen 5 digits on that particular stock, and among the auto space, it has been one of the best performing stocks. So let's look at how data pans out as far as earnings are concerned. It has to justify valuations of 5 digits, and probably that's where the pain point is. But I can tell you there is a huge waiting list, especially for Ertiga, one of its main products that make up the backbone of sales, and very high demand for cars across the board. Why only Maruti? Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. Our guest Dipan Mehta, he will also join us in a bit. But meanwhile, Shell, what are the sectors? I mean, which are the sectors that you're bullish on, especially at this point in time, and sectors that one should avoid?
Tanya, I think we'll wait for Mr. Dipan Mehta to answer that question. But one thing is for certain, pharma will be in the limelight. We've seen 5 years of extreme pain in the sector that has led to underperformance, not only in terms of price points, but also on the top line and bottom line of frontline companies. Apart from Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, the mid-cap pharma space was in tremendous pain. And I would imagine that given the strength that we've seen in the past 4 or 5 days, mainly because of Cipla's fantastic first quarter earnings, pharma is back in demand, and about time, I would say. This was the only sector that was lagging apart from the IT space, which still remains in the doldrum. So pharma is something that should be on the front page and on the radar of all traders, all investors, and all viewers as far as the long side trade is concerned. Tanya.
Absolutely. And Shell, but there is also one space that is buzzing, and that is real estate. So, your thoughts on this particular space, and any stocks that we should watch out for?
Tanya, honestly, I don't track real estate in that manner, but of course, demand for larger houses and quality homes remains very strong in India, especially after post-pandemic. Sadly, I don't look at stocks per se, but I would imagine you've seen very strong build-ups happening in DLF, and the one other stock that I like simply on balance sheet strength is Godrej Properties. But later in our show, we'll be accompanied by the Greenpanel Industries management, which are the largest makers of MDF, a wood substitute. I'm sure he'll give us a better idea, and that's the space that I am looking at as far as real estate is concerned. I'm just wondering if Mr. Dipan Mehta, Director of Exceller Equities, has joined us as yet or not. He's a very strong person when it comes to stock picking. Yes, he has. Mr. Mehta, welcome to Business Today Television. It's such a pleasure to host you on our channel, and at a time when markets are consolidating at record highs, I'm sure your views would be highly sought. Welcome to the show. Your first comments on how do you see August panning out? Any sectors that you're on the lookout for as far as long trades are concerned, sir?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your show. It's a real privilege and I appreciate it. I think that these are great times for the market, and August is going to turn out to be an excellent month for equities. I'm quite pleased with the way the earnings season has been rolling out. And I think that India is on the cusp of a fantastic multi-year bull market. And this is the new phase which we have entered after we crossed the previous highs. And while there may be a lot of consolidation, minor corrections as big as 5 to 10%, but broadly, I think the next 3 years are going to be great in terms of wealth creation through equities. And I think every opportunity must be an opportunity to increase exposure to stocks in the long term.
Yes. Mr. Mehta, we've also seen a fantastic run up apart from blue chips into mid caps and small caps. This is a tide that has lifted all boats. Would you be keen on maybe doing stock picking at these levels? What are the stocks on your radar, maybe in the banking space or maybe in the infrastructure space? What do you like?
See, I think the beauty of this bull market is that it is quite widespread. It's got fantastic breadth. And if you go sector by sector, apart from the export oriented sectors, I think broadly all the industries are doing very well, starting from banking. Then, if you go down the line, I think automobiles are doing very well, and that has a positive impact on all auto ancillaries, tires, battery manufacturers. The real estate industry is also doing exceptionally well, and that has a positive impact on cement, on appliances, and a host of other sectors which supply to the real estate sector. Capital goods, I think after several years, we are seeing a beautiful upcycle in capital goods segment. Industries, factories are expanding capacities after many years, and therefore the order book position is strong. Government spending also is at an all-time high, and it's only going to pick up as we approach the general election. So that also is benefiting a whole host of industries, especially engineering, construction industries, and steel, and so many other ancillary sectors also are benefiting. So as I look at my entire spectrum, apart from commodities, maybe like steels, zinc, cement, aluminum, broadly you can make a bull case for almost every sector. And even when it comes to export-oriented sectors like software, there are niche plays which are doing exceptionally well. So I think this is a great time to be in the market. We have fantastic breadth. And coming specifically to your question about the stocks we're looking at, again with usual disclosure that we and our clients are invested within the banks. I think you saw the numbers of IDFC First Bank yesterday. They were impressive, very impressive, excellent, I would say. And I think that this is one bank which is a class apart as compared to a lot of peer groups. So that's one we are focused on. And in the capital goods, I think we are very positive on a company called Praj Industries. Again, a disclosure we and our clients are invested. And this is a unique play on a very specialized and niche capital equipment manufacturer, which is right in the middle of this entire environment, kind of a play, which is being given a lot of importance by the government and by the industry per se. So they are going to be having a great time in terms of bulging order book position, and they certainly have some edge when it comes to specific technologies.
Absolutely. Let's discuss Praj Industries first. And Mr. Mehta, you're the second person in as many days talking about Praj. Our dear friend Mayuresh Joshi spoke about it yesterday, but the more the merrier. And once it reaches a consensus level, I'm sure a lot of people are interested. Praj, of course, is a pure play manufacturer of ethanol equipment that a lot of sugar companies order. Very strong 12-month earnings of about 257, and a very easy kind of a PE at about 30. Mr. Mehta would vouch for the fact that Praj Industries has been a multi-bagger from the earlier decade of 2000, and lots of people who have held this stock over a long period of time have made fantastic gains. Apart from the sectoral play that Praj offers and its strong overview, Mr. Mehta, what do you like other than these 2 points as far as Praj is concerned?
Yeah, I just missed you over there because there was a slight cut in the internet over here. Please, can you repeat your question?
Ma'am, Mr. Mehta, apart from the financials and its easy kind of a valuation, what else would you prefer in Praj? What attracts you to it?
See, I think that this India's opportunity in ethanol is massive. And according to our assessment, the ethanol capacity over the next 3 years will have to double in order to meet the government requirements of blending with petrol. And there are other opportunities as well of using ethanol in aviation fuel as well as diesel. And that means that the investment in ethanol plants, not just through sugarcane, but also through other agro commodities and other agricultural produce, is going to keep on increasing over the years. And that's where Praj comes into play. They are a quality player in terms of supply of equipment for ethanol plants. And when it comes to exports, they've hardly scratched the surface over there because the entire world is going towards more, I would say, environment friendly fuel. And this entire shift away from fossil fuels into renewable type of fuels is certainly going to benefit Praj Industries. And it's got a great track record in terms of delivery, in terms of financials. We have comfort as far as corporate governance standards are also concerned. So from that point of view, I think next 3-4 years looks very promising for Praj Industries, and certainly they can compound their earnings at the rate of at least 17 to 25%. And I think that is enough to sustain a 16-17% type of a return in the stock. So from that point of view, very positive on Praj. There are other also, I think from an investor's perspective, you cannot miss out on Larsen and Toubro as well, which is the giant as far as the engineering construction space is concerned,
Right, sir.
and we were quite pleased with those numbers as well.
Right. Just one word on Praj before we hit pre-open. If you look at how the stock has appreciated over the last 10-year period, it's given a CAGR return of 28% per year since 2013, and perhaps that's one of the reasons that attracts Mr. Mehta to Praj Industries. Well, this is also the time to look at pre-open trades. Nifty settling around 62 points lower when it comes to the index at about 19,600. Let me look at other stocks which are causing this pain. Bajaj Finance down 2.7%, 77.13. Reliance is down 1%, 27.80. Let's look at HDFC Bank, flat at the moment for Bank Nifty, 0.2% over 1807. I think we'll just wait for these prices to sort of settle down. At the moment, they look a little on the odd side. Let me look at the FNO space where that's headed. Let's look at stocks which are doing pretty well. Okay, Siemens. It reclaims 4,000 levels, 2.7% higher. Another favorite from Mr. Mehta, IDFC First Bank, 2.44% higher at 86. Marico, 4% lower, 550. Madantsumi, Tata Motors, all of them in the green. Let's look at most other counters. I would imagine PI Industries at 32.30. Again, these are stocks which are probably not giving the right prices in the pre-open trade. Let's get back Tanya and Mr. Mehta back into the discussion. We'll again revisit the pre-open trades. Mr. Mehta, frontline counters, you started talking about L&T. Would you elaborate a bit further?
Yeah, I think from a risk return profile, we prefer L&T as well. Again, another company we and our clients are invested in. And, it should be part of the core holdings of most investors. It's seeing a solid build-up in order book position. And L&T management is very focused on two aspects. One is improving the margins of the company. And second is looking at inching or increasing their return on investment. And this buyback of shares, I think, is a step in that direction to improve their return ratios. And because of the kind of demand which is there, L&T has the choice to pick and choose the right kind of projects in India and globally as well, which are generally margin accretive. And a lot of the issues in terms of project execution are now more or less resolved. Some of the risk factors which were there in maybe the earlier decade about projects getting delayed or cancelled halfway through, those risks have receded for L&T. And now once they get a large order, which is a multi-year order, 3-4 years or so, there's a high degree of visibility that those orders will get completed in time and within the cost. So that brings a certain amount of predictability to their business model as well. So from all points of view, I think L&T looks attractive. Of course, there's a lot of value being built in the subsidiaries, but we do not, give much importance to that because it's not going to get unlocked in the near future or forever. And so to that extent, I think whatever their holdings are in the software, the financial services space is going to remain just on the books of L&T. And there's hardly any scope for value unlocking over there, but the core business is doing exceptionally well. And what we like best is the diversified nature of the order book, which is not only in India, but I think 40% of it is from overseas markets as well.
Vaishali Parekh. She's the AVP of Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar. Very good morning, Vaishali, and thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television. I want to begin with you now. That how are you looking at markets at this point in time, and where are the markets headed, and what do the technical charts suggest now?
Very good morning to all of you, and thanks for having me on the show. Yes, market, as far as the index is concerned, it's a bit sluggish. Technically, I would say 19,550 is the crucial support level. And we
Okay.
are looking at the weekly trend also. The Nifty trend has been up for the past 18 weeks. So we still continue to have a bullish bias as long as 19,550 levels are held on. And further confirmation would come once we see a cross of 19,720. So if that say we see, we will be having a continuation in the uptrend, and we would be then looking for 20,200. So that is how I'm looking at the market right now.
Okay, 19,500. That's the level. Keep an eye on that.
Vaishali, welcome to Business Today.
Yeah, please go ahead, Shail.
Yeah, please continue, Tanya. Ladies
Yeah.
first, your turn.
Okay, yeah. So I was, talking about the pockets of opportunities. So Vaishali, which are the stocks that you are betting on at this point in time?
Looking at Container Corporation. Container Corporation, we saw on Friday that yes, after a good consolidation, it's once again got into momentum. So Container Corporation would be one of my trading strategy. It is currently at 689. 670 would be the stop loss, and my trading target would be around 720. The other stock that I'm looking at is SBI Cards. So SBI Card actually, it is in the process of higher bottom formation, and we saw some good movement coming in, and again it is just consolidating, but the levels are very attractive as a positional trade. So from here it would be a buy, and I would look at a good positional upside from here on, at least up to 700 levels.
So these are the two stocks that Vaishali is looking at on the charts. Let's get Mr. Mehta back into the discussion as far as fundamental stock picking is concerned. And he's had a varied, deep experience in looking at broader equities as well. Dipan, your views on the PSU banking basket. The rally has been fantastic. It's a classic case of under ownership and very, very strong performance coming at both on the balance sheet as well as the P&L account. A couple of stocks that you like there and the reasons therefore.
Yeah, that's right. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it was a bit of under ownership and fabulous performance coming through the next last 2-3 quarters or so. I think that the PSU banks are in a financially very, very healthy state. I have not seen the sector to be in such fine shape over the past several years or so since I've been tracking them. And very strategically they have provided for all the NPAs, and now their net NPA percentages are in line with the broader private sector banks as well. And they're looking at, they're well capitalized, they're looking at increasing their loan books. So from that perspective, I think next at least few quarters looks very exciting for PSU banks. And from a deep discount, mind you, there was a time they were quoted at anywhere from zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.7 times their book value. Means they were valued below their book value as well. I think that also is inching up to the range of 0.65 to 1 times book value. But the thing about PSU banks is that you could paint them with a single brush, and more or less all their performances are generally coming in line. And whether you buy Indian Bank or Canara Bank or even Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, all of them, I think the kind of numbers that they are expected to deliver over the next 2-3 years, as well as the kind of valuations they are trading at just now, more or less you would get similar type of returns from the PSU bank. So I really don't have a favorite over there. But from an investor perspective, if you want to really play it safe and have a slightly longer term view, then of course you cannot miss out on SBI, which is of course India's largest bank. And I think last 2-3 quarters have been exceptionally good for SBI. So if you have to pick one stock in the PSU, I'd pick SBI. But there are trading opportunities across the board over there.
Okay, and State Bank of India, the merger of its 5 or 7 sister subsidiaries over the last 3 or 4 years has added requisite strength to its balance sheet. Of course, trading at near record levels, 620, 615 so far on Friday. You mentioned, Deepan, that the other PSU banking basket would be a trading play. What are the levels, if you would, give it a broad brush on the price to book or the price to equity level on the entire PSU banking basket? Would you turn into a seller, or let's just say you won't buy at those levels? The broader themes that we talk about, that you buy PSUs when they are super attractive and you sell them when they become attractive.
No, I mean, I don't have any kind of targets for these companies, but they are growing at a decent clip. And PSU banks will continue to do well till we see a down cycle in the NPA, and one really cannot predict when that will be. Because on the whole, I think they have not done well when the NPA cycle has turned, and I don't know how the next NPA cycle, when it turns, is going to be anything different. So you need to be a bit cautious. The street is, of course, accounting for a poor track record of these banks in terms of managing their loan book and in terms of delivering shareholder returns as well. So when you're buying a PSU bank, it's not that you're buying the bluest of the blue chip companies within the banking space. So from that point of view, you need to be a bit cautious. And I don't have any specific targets per se, but when it comes to banking NBFCs, there is just too much choice. And I think in a way that's negative, because I think there's a lot of over ownership within the bank NBFC space as well. And that I think will come into play, sooner rather than later. So over a point, next 2 3 quarters looks interesting for the space, but there are certain clouds also emerging for the sector as a whole, especially in terms of lower net interest margin as the savings rate starts to creep up, and competitive intensity may prevent banking sector from maintaining these kind of net interest margins which they have over the past few years or so.
Right. Right. Let's get Vaishali into this discussion. Vaishali, your view on State Bank of India, especially when it comes to charts. Vaishali, your view on State Bank of India. I think, Vaishali, would you like to comment on State Bank of India? I would imagine there is some kind of a disconnect when it comes to the audio link with
Yeah,
Vaishali. Anyway,
absolutely.
this is the right time to maybe look at some
I think
pre-open
Shail
trades. Could
Vaishali is
you,
back with us.
Tanya,
I
be
think
in
now
touch with
you're audible.
Vaishali, please?
Yes, now you're
Okay.
audible. And still, yes.
Vaishali, yes, Vaishali. Would you like to comment on State Bank of India as far as the charts are concerned?
So yes, State Bank of India continues to be my favorite too in the PSU sector. And I would say, well, technically, I would be looking at a resistance at around 620 or so. But it becomes a good buy at every decline. It is getting into the overbought zone. But I would say that yes, 580 should be the near-term support. And if we see the stock moving past 625, 630, my next target would be around 680 to 700 levels. So long-term chart looks positive for upward price projection, but near term we can see some hurdle at 625.
Okay, absolutely. That was all about SBI. But what about other banks, Vaishali? If you talk about, PNB, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, what are your thoughts and what do the technical charts suggest for these banks?
So, well, Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda have shown a good run up, but in that regard, PNB has still scope to go higher. So, PNB, I have a positive view for now. For a good buying entry also, because the risk reward ratio would be favorable from here on. 58 would be the near term support level, and trading target would be the 68 levels. So once we see this stock going above 68, I would be looking at 80, 82. So PNB would be a good bet right now, and view stays positive on Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay,
Shell,
so
yeah.
this was a small detour that
Yeah, please go
Yes,
ahead.
this
Shail.
was a small detour that we took on the PNB as well as the PSU banking basket. Let's now get back to the market and wait for a pre-open to turn into an open. Tanya, we have a green tick on the Nifty as far as closing pre-open prices are concerned. 19,666. Remember, 650 is a very strong support, up about 20 points, and we await the market open, which is there in front of us. Nifty up 27 points, 19,675. Nifty Bank up 73 points, 45,530. Nifty IT index has opened in the green, 73 points higher, 29,540. Let's look at the top flight in terms of index heavyweights. Where do we see a green tick? HDFC Bank flat at 1644. I want to see what Reliance is doing. Again flat but in the green, 2530. Let's look at Infosys, flat 1337. Banks. ICICI Bank is again flat, 950, 995. The top gainers as of now in the index heavyweight space are TCS up 0.3%, 3367. L&T, as Dipan pointed out, still going strong, 2654. There isn't much of an uptick or downtick as far as the frontline counters are concerned. ITC down about 1%, 464. Kotak Bank reeling 0.5% lower at 1864. And the rest of the stocks in the heavyweight space are, almost flat to weak. So Nifty is now down 26 points, 19,620. Bank Nifty down 38 points, 45,438. Let's look at what's sticking in the F&O space. Siemens taking it away, 4,032, 4.5% higher. Restructuring happening in India Bulls Housing Finance, the counter up 3.5%, 140.60. Gas Authority 2.7% higher, 120. RBL Bank continues its uptick, 1.2% higher, 236.95. These are the gainers. Who are the losers? Piramal Enterprises 5.6% lower, 1008. M&M Finance 2.9% lower, 291. SBI Card 3.3% lower, 827. Let's look at the broader markets. NSE 500. The top gainers are Gland Pharma 6% higher, 1376. Adani Green 3.8% higher, 1134. Nazara 3.2% higher, 686. Ajanta Pharma, the rally continues, 2.9% higher, 1663. Broader markets, let's see what are the other indexes that are ticking on the upside. Well, you have the Nifty and the Bank Nifty in the red. The top gainer is the metals index, 0.5% higher, 6675. Energy index 0.5% higher, 26576. And the PSU banking basket and the pharma space mildly in the green. Tanya, what have you observed?
I think, Shail, let's look at the stocks that will be that will mean focus, ahead of numbers and on the back of news. So let's look at, how Marico is doing at this point in time. Let's pull up that stock for you. The company posted good set of numbers. It posted a profit of 436 odd crore rupees, up around 15%. Okay, the stock is in the red as we speak. We should also look at Gland Pharma. So the US FDA has concluded inspection at companies Visakhapatnam facility with 0 observations. So this stock will be in focus and it's, see the impact. It's up around 6% in today's trading session. We also have, NTPC. The company posted 9% growth in its profit at 4,066 odd crore rupees. That stock will be in focus today. Of course, we have results as well. Maruti Suzuki, that stock should come up for you. We have GAIL as well. The company will be, posting its numbers today. And by the way, brokerage firm UBS has given GAIL a double upgrade and has nearly, double its price target on the stock ahead of its number, and the stock, as you can see, it's up around 3%. So Vaishali, your take on these, stocks that I just mentioned, and especially if you talk about Maruti, GAIL and Power Grid Corporation of India, these stock ahead of their Q1 earnings?
We just observing that GAIL has given a gap up opening, and Friday was a good indication because it closed well and above 117. We were looking at a target of around 130. So view on GAIL continues to be positive. It would be a buy at every decline now with 105 as support level. Talking about power grid, already run up, but the trend is very intact. So I would say that yes, it is a hold to be bought at decline because I would not be suggesting a new buy at these levels since it's already run up. But yes, we would look at a target of around 280 to 290 from here on. And Maruti in the auto pack is positive. The trend is positive. We have seen a good run up, but we have our open targets of around 10,000, 10,300.
Tanya, interesting trades happening on Praj Industries. Remember, this was the pick that Dipan started his opening stance from. Days high, 426.30, and amongst the top gainers in the broader space. We've heard Dipan talk in detail about this. Let's get Vaishali's view in on Praj Industries. Vaishali, record high somewhere like 429, the stock at 427. What do the charts talk to you on Praj Industries?
I would say go for it because technically also it supports the view. And I would now look at a target at least for 456, 460. And once we see this stock moving higher, I think we would be heading for a target of 480. So it is a buy even now. And I would say rather accumulate with a support of 400 levels.
Let's get Dipan in the frame. Fantastic pick, Dipan, and as I said, one of the finest mid cap and small cap pickers in the market is Mr. Mehta. His pick on Praj doing fantastically well. Dipan, anything that you can spot in the pre-open trade, in the opening stance that you see worthwhile to look at for, say, the medium term or maybe intraday today?
Not really. I don't have access to my trading screen, so I cannot comment. But if you can bring up IDFC First Bank, it will be reacting to its results. So I'm keen to see what price it's trading at. Yeah, so okay, we see it's marginally up.
IDFC First is another pick that comes from Dipan's fantastic box of great trades. At about 84.90. I'm sure this is a record high. Yes, it is. And so is Praj Industries. But as is the rest of the broader markets, Dipan started his opening stance saying that, it's one of those wonderful bull markets which is really deep and wide. And it's very hard to find stocks which have a strong quality balance sheet and profit and loss accounts which are not trading at record highs. So it's IDFC First Bank and Praj Industries from Dipan's side. Let's get Vaishali in. Vaishali, would you like to stick your neck out on IDFC First Bank, 84.80?
Yes, definitely. And I would think, it is a hold, and I would look at a target of 9,200 levels.
Okay, very strong set of numbers, by the way, that came from IDFC First Bank. It recorded almost 61% year-on-year growth. And Shell, I think we were talking about PSU banks, but let's talk about private banks as well. And if we see, FIIs have also increased their holding in the frontline private banks, especially, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank. And in both Axis Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank, the stake increase was quite significant as well. So let's go to Mr. Mehta first. Mr. Mehta, what are your thoughts as far as private banks are concerned?
Yeah, we are very positive on the banking sector. It is the leadership sector and the highest weightage amongst all the broad market indices, Sensex, Nifty. So from that point of view, you have to have a decent weightage in the banks in your portfolio. And of course, private sector banks have been great value creators, wealth creators. They are in a secular growth momentum at this point of time. These are ultimate blue sky scenario for the banking stocks and private sector banks in particular. So I think all of them are expected to do exceptionally well. We were particularly impressed with the numbers which came through from ICICI Bank. But from a risk return profile, again, with the disclosure we and our clients are invested, our preference is for Axis Bank among the top 4 banks within the country. I think that their valuations are at a discount to its peer group, and its performance is more or less at par. And eventually, I think once the issues of integrating Citibank are over and done with, you will see much better performance from Axis Bank, values being created in subsidiaries as well. So on the whole, very positive on that particular company from point of view of earnings growth and a re-rating of the valuation multiples.
Okay, absolutely. And what about you, Vaishali? What are your thoughts on this private banking space and any stocks that you like? And especially, what do the technical charts suggest for Axis Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank?
So Axis Bank actually technically it's done its round of momentum for now. 985 holds as a crucial resistance, and that's what we witnessed. And right now, chartically, I would say that if 942 levels break, then 920 is the target to look for, and that would be an ideal level to get into this stock. I would be now looking at Kotak Bank and HDFC Bank because these are the two stocks in the banking sector which have not participated as much as Axis and ICICI. So I would be having a positive view on Kotak Bank right now. And I think once we see momentum coming in this stock, I would look at a target of 2000, 2100.
Okay, I think Tanya, we need to pay attention to the power space. It's just buzzing with gains. Vaishali, over to you. Firstly, NTPC, decadal high, very strong traction. The top gainer in the power space, 211, 1.5% higher. What are the charts telling you? Open interest is already 1% higher, and we are just 10 minutes into the trade.
Well, can buy with today's lowest stop loss and look for a target of 220.
Well, that was pretty quick. Vaishali, I'll be quicker still. Tata Power for you, 237.95, breaking out for very strong consolidative phase.
So 238 is the near-term resistance. We are strongly recommending this stock to our clients. And about 238, we would be looking at next target of 270. So Tata Power is positive.
Absolutely. If our PCR can show the daily chart for Tata Power, there was a huge positive bar on Friday. Very, very strong volumes of about 58 million shares. That was the highest volume at least in 2023, and that's the breakout that's happened. Remember the all-time high that we saw on the counter was 298 somewhere on April of 2022. So we have a 16-17 month high revisiting Tata Power, and Vaishali's given her thumbs up. Let's get Dipan into this discussion. Dipan, your top pick as far as the power space is concerned, private and public sector buzzing a lot in the electricity space.
See, I think power companies are broadly utility companies, so one cannot really expect phenomenal growth coming through to them. And it's great from a dividend yield point of view, and in defensive in markets where you need a defensive play, then power companies certainly fit that criteria. But power equipment companies are an interesting space because renewable energy is, I think, the buzzword, and a lot of capacities are coming in over there. So whether it's transmission companies, cable companies, I think those are in certainly in for a decent time. Companies like KEC International, Kalpataru, I think they're looking at decent order book position. But within the power equipment space, again, a disclosure that we and our clients are interested. Our top pick is Apar Industries, which is a global supplier of conductors, and it also has a very profitable cables division and a transformer oil business as well. And the track record is exceptionally good, and they are, I think, amongst the largest players globally in the segments that they are present in. Good quality management, very much focused on return ratios. Expansion capacity is also coming on stream, and order book positions are looking pretty decent. So I would look at that company, but I expect that next 2-3 quarters may be a bit challenging, but our view is more long term in nature.
Yes. Absolutely, at price points of 3,832 per share, of course, record high. it is a challenging piece of stock when it comes to retail and small investors. But Power taking it away. Vishali, Tata Power's really listened to you, and it's zooming now 238.60. A lot of block deals that I see on this space are continuing. Very, very strong traction on NTPC. You mentioned it's one of your top picks. Lots of blocks happening here. So a nice start to the week. We've seen Nifty now flat, 13 points lower, 19,632. Bank Nifty flat as well, consolidating. Today is the day for metals, power, and in a while we'll start discussing the pharma space with both our guests, Deepan as well as Vaishali. Tanya, what are you observing?
I think Shell, if you look at the metal back, it's shining today. Look at the stocks like Hindustan Copper, Ratnamani, JSW Steel, JSL. So I think let's get a view from Vaishali, on this metal pack, and any stocks that you like, Vaishali, from this particular space.
So yes, well, I am focusing on Jindal Steel and Power, and well, the stock has already started doing very well, and I would still maintain a positive view. I would say buy at every decline. 640 would be the near-term support, and I would be looking at a target of 700 to 720. And talking about the other metal stocks, that is Hindalco, that has not run up as much. So I would be focusing on Hindalco also, because I think once we see an upward move coming in and a good clarity in an upward trend, I would look at a target of 480 to 520. Of course, this would be a good positional trade, but a good level to start buying these stocks.
Okay, this is a review that is coming on the metal space. Tanya, I think we've had the first 15 minutes of trade. Let's look at some stocks that are hitting record highs. I have Jindal Stainless, 399, 1.5% higher. Poonawalla FinCap, 0.5% higher, 383. APL Apollo, the pipe maker, 1.2% higher, 1557. Tata Communications, BEL, Escorts, and Hindustan Aeronautics, among the many stocks that are hitting record highs today. And this again buttresses the fact that Deepan mentioned at the start of the show, that this bull market is really deep and really wide. Nearly all sectors are participating in this wonderful rally that we are seeing on Indian markets, and it goes on to show that it's the broader economic strength that's getting reflected in stock prices. Deepan and Vaishali, since both of you are here and you do a fairly great job at picking stocks, Deepan, coming to you first on the pharma space. We've seen this one getting trashed for 5 years, under ownership, lots of pain, US FDA problems, both earnings and top line contracting, margins going for a toss. But suddenly over the last 3-4 weeks, the pharma space has come back on buyers' radars. Investors and traders are really now looking with increased enthusiasm at a sector that's still not participated in the way metals, FMCG, and auto have. Deepan, what would be your top picks in the pharma space where you feel we still have deep value left? And then we'll touch base with Vaishali on how the charts look. Deepan, to you first.
Yeah, I think the large pharma companies, Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, Sun, Lupin, are all looking interesting. A large part of their business has become commoditized, especially US generic market. And one of the important qualities of a commodity type business is that there are upswings as well when prices start to strengthen and competitive intensity reduces. And I think they are in that positive phase at this point of time. Also, I think overall India's US FDA compliance seems to be gradually improving. I think after so many hits, companies have become far more careful. So I think next 2-3 quarters will be very interesting for pharma companies, and they may report exceptional numbers. But I wouldn't bet on these companies getting a higher and higher valuation multiple going ahead, considering that large parts of the business are cyclical in nature, and within the domestic market also there is intense competition. So I think that there is a trading play for next 2-3 quarters in pharma stocks as under ownership starts to get corrected, and the large 4 or 5 large pharma companies should do exceptionally well.
Okay, absolutely. And what about you, Vaishali? What is your take regarding, some of these pharma names? They have reported a stellar set of numbers, let's say Cipla, Dr. Reddy's. Any stocks that you like from this particular space?
So I would say that yes. First, let's talk about the pharma index on the whole. It is on the verge of a breakout on the weekly chart. So the view remains positive. Pharma sector is likely to continue to do well, but most of the stocks have really run up so much that right now I would not recommend a fresh buy. But in that category, I think Biocon has not really participated, and Biocon technically quite well placed, and I would say one can accumulate. Currently, it's at 256 and support lies at 235. So it's better to accumulate
Thank you.
because market is quite heavy. So we may see some dips. So I would say start accumulating this stock and one can look for a target of 290 to 320 levels. So Biocon technically is well placed for a new buy.
Tanya, what's interesting in the long-term chart of Biocon is that we've seen an all-time high of, somewhere like 491, and at the moment at about 256. Vaishali would agree that it offers a lot of margin of safety in the stock price part alone, and one of those rare instances where you see stock at a 200-day DMA, which the chart at the moment is showing. So a good traction is likely to see on Biocon. That's what Vaishali is talking about. Vaishali, coming back to you, Natco Pharma, a very, very strong move that I see today. And this is again one of those market darlings which had seen fantastic days in 2017, 2018, but it went off the radar. All-time high of about 1180, 1200 actually, and now trying to breathe up at 852. What are the charts telling you?
Well, it's in a robust up move, and our view, we have been recommending this stock to our clients. We are looking at a target of 900, 920. And then we can have a relook. But for now, yes, 900, 920 is quite achievable.
This is the space that is buzzing today. Apart from Natco Pharma, it's Glenmark 2.5% higher in the FNO space. Lupin, Ipca Labs in the green. Vaishali, two high beta stocks in the pharma space are Aurobindo Pharma and Lupin. Let's get Aurobindo Pharma as far as charts are concerned. 822, and the all-time high is of course 1070, but the last 6 months have been fantastic for Aurobindo Pharma. Is it overheated on the charts, Vaishali, or are the good days likely to continue for Aurobindo Pharma?
Yeah, I would say since the market is so bullish, maybe it can continue, but it is definitely overbought. So I would suggest that one can partially book profit or maybe hold with a trailing stop loss. Because at this juncture, this stock has run up right from, if I were to say yes, from 475, we have seen a one-way rally going to 822. So, well, it is overbought, and I would say it would be risky to just leave it unnoticed. Keep a trading stop loss or book partial profit.
Absolutely. And if you look at, some of the other pharma names as well, Lupin is right now as we speak, it is trading flat, 0.7% uptick there. What are your thoughts for Lupin, Vaishali? I mean, what do the technical charts suggest for this particular counter?
So as a long term, if that is the view, then I would say that hold because we can see a target of 1100 levels from here on. But technically, for a trading perspective, it is once again quite run up. So I would suggest keep a trailing stop loss or book partial profit. So one can again get a chance in decline to be bought.
Okay, absolutely. And Shell, we have discussed a lot about, RVNL and Masdog. These are the stocks that, from the mid cap and small cap space that we have been talking about and,
Absolutely.
absolutely in news as well. So I want to ask you, Vaishali, that, after a sharp run up that we have seen in these particular counters, what are your thoughts now and what do the technical charts suggest now for these counters?
So RVNL can be a buy right now because it has come
Okay.
once again to a good support level. So I would say
Hmm.
keep a calculated risk of 118 as stop loss and go for it.
And what about Mazda?
Nasdaq is a hold. It can't be bought at these levels because once again, to run up, and I would say just hold if one is taken at lower levels or wait for a dip to buy again.
Tanya, those invested in Masdaq are really thanking their stars. I mean, the stock was at 400, 450 less than 1 year ago, and
Right.
now above 2000 for a couple of days, but now consolidating. And Vaishali is absolutely right. You can't put your foot in at these levels, but lovely days for those who have it in their portfolio, and charts obviously may be pointing to better days ahead. But let's bring our first pick back on air, and that's Praj Industries. Unfortunately, Mr. Mehta has left for other important work, but that was his pick, and from 422, it's now at 432, fresh record high. Vaishali had also stamped her approval for this particular stock on the technical charts. We've seen 7,20,000 shares already traded in the first 25 minutes of trade, which is almost equal to Friday's volume, and wonderful, wonderful days for Praj Industries. It's clicking both fundamentally as well as technically. Vaishali, would you like to step in again for those who joined us late? Praj Industries 432. What would be the medium term target for this stock?
Medium term, see 456 is the previous high, so that would be the resistance. But I think the way the volume is being picked up and all, I would say that well, hold on and enjoy the profit and go for the target of 480. So well, for a short term, 480, 455.
Okay, absolutely. Poonawalla FinCorp, let's pull up that stock for you. The stock is trading at record highs as we speak. Vishali, I want your thoughts on this particular counter and what's the next level for this particular stock. It's up around 2% as we speak, 389 level on this particular counter.
Yeah, gradually we are progressing towards 400, 410.
Okay, that was quick. 414, that is the level that is coming in. Any stocks that you are. Yes, absolutely. I think we should talk about Marico as well, Shell, because the company posted good set of numbers. And of course,
Sure.
a lot of these FMCG names, Nestle also, the volume growth had managed to fall short of expectations. But yes, that stock was in focus. Vaishali, your thoughts on Marico first?
Well, so Marico, I think the positive news, if the results were good, it's factored in. And right now, there's not much happening. Let's wait and watch. Maybe 550, 540 would be a good level to again re-enter the stock. But nothing, there's no clarity. Long term, yes. On a weekly chart, what I'm seeing, the trend is intact. And maybe it can go towards 590 once the momentum sets in.
Okay. Any other stocks that you like from FMCG space?
Let's get.
Well, so from FMCG, I think Dabur is still looking positive from here on,
Okay.
and also Godrej Consumer. These are the two stocks which I think can show a good momentum from here on.
Let's mark broader spaces that are showing good traction, Tanya. The defense counters are picking up very, very sharply. Uh, if the PCR can show the daily chart of BEML, 8% higher, 1968 that I see, a net change of about 152 points on the higher side. About 3.5 lakh shares have been traded, and the counter is the top gaining one on as far as the defense space is concerned. Bharat Dynamics 2% higher, 25 rupees in the gain, 1227. Market favorite Hindustan Aeronautics 39.91, 63 points higher, a gain of 1.6%. Remember, it's about to hit 4,000. This is again a record high level that we are seeing. Zen Technologies flat at 627. The shipyard stocks now down today. Garden Reach, Cochin and Mastock, and no complaints here actually. The run up that has been so fast and so strong that these stocks are now consolidating near record highs. But the show stealer is BEML. Vaishali, would you like to take a stab at BEML at these levels, breakout in volume and breakout in price?
I would not say so because it's quite a risky trade at this level. But well, we have been spotting this stock right from
Yes.
1600 levels. So that was an ideal level to get into the stock. Those who have been fortunate to buy at those levels, please hold on because we would be heading towards 2200 levels.
Okay, so that is as far as stock prices are concerned, and a fantastic sentiment, at least in the broader market. The Nifty and the Bank Nifty are completely flat, consolidating near record highs. The Nifty IT index about 0.5% higher, 152 gains, 29,635. Metals, pharma, autos, all showing good traction on the first day and the first half hour of Monday's trade. But let's shift focus and get to you the corporate report card. We have Mr. Vishwanathan Venkatramani. He is the Chief Financial Officer at Greenpanel Industries, joining us to discuss what have been fantastic numbers so far. We've seen some kind of a dip that's happened as far as sales and profit are concerned. Let's get Mr. Venkatramani in. Sir, would you like to comment on how demand is shaping up in a market where record sales are being witnessed in top quality homes and very, very high income levels getting reflected in the real estate space? How has the MDF market been?
Good morning. MDF market has been doing well. This product, we entered this market around 2010 when the industry size was about 150,000 cubic meters. And at the end of the last financial year, this has grown to 2 million cubic meters. So more than a 20% CAGR over a period of 13 years. And we expect this industry to go at about 15% per annum CAGR for the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, absolutely. And Mr. Venkatramani, I want to ask you that, MDF EBITDA margins, they came in at around 20.4%. And of course, they were impacted by maintenance shutdown of, Rudrapur plant for 19 days, higher brand spends, and of course, increase in wood prices. But what is your outlook as far as margins are concerned, and how do you plan to improve them?
Okay, we are targeting a 12 to 15% volume growth and a 23 to 25% margin for the MDF segment. So although it's been a weak first quarter, we still have 9 months to go, and we are confident of meeting our guidance.
Mr. Venkatramani, MDF is of course the largest part of growth that we are seeing in the wood sector, and you control about 26% of this market. Would you share with our viewers and investors what is the capacity expansion that is likely to come into this financial year for the company, and how much are you spending on it?
Okay, the capacity expansion will happen in the next financial year, and for a increase in capacity by about 35% of the existing capacity, we are adding another 230,000 cubic meters. We are spending 600 crores for the capital expenditure. Most of the expenditure will be incurred in the current financial year, and it's through a mix of internal accruals and debt.
Okay, absolutely. And Mr. Venkatramani, I want to ask. Yeah, please go ahead, Shail.
Mr. Venkatramani, when you talk about higher margins, what are the new products that you are trying to introduce in this calendar year, and where exactly, which geography are you seeing demand coming in from, which is better than last year?
Okay, this MDF can be broken up into two broad segments. One is the basic industrial product, and the second is the value added products. By value added products, we mean higher grades of plain MDF like exterior grade, club grade, pre-laminated MDF, and wooden flooring. So in the first quarter, these contributed about 54% of the volumes, and we are targeting to take this to 65% over the next couple of years.
Okay, absolutely, sir. And if we talk about the future quarters as well, what will be your major focus areas going forward?
Our focus will always be on the domestic markets because that gives us higher realizations and margins. So we will be, following a policy of catering to the domestic demand and allocating balance volumes to exports.
Okay. And if we talk about the current monsoon season, is it something to worry about?
Excuse me?
I mean, if we talk about the monsoon season right now, are there any factors that we should worry about for the upcoming
Uh,
quarters?
Not really. Monsoons generally, have an impact on availability of wood. So we did stock up during the first quarter of the year. So we don't anticipate any issues as far as availability of raw material is concerned, and demand should improve in future quarters.
Mr. Venkatramani, you are, as far as the debt level is concerned, you have a gross debt of about 190 crore rupees, and the cash on the balance sheet is somewhere like 380, 390 crore rupees. So effectively, you are debt free. But this debt of about 190 crores, do you have any plans to prepay, or is this an adequate level that you have?
Yeah, we have already prepaid some of the existing debts. So currently the gross debt is about 130 crores, and we are targeting to prepay another 30-35 crores during the current financial year.
Okay. And Mr. Ramani, coming back to your stock price, we've seen an all-time high of about 620 rupees. The stock at about 331 as of now. Uh, Given the kind of enthusiasm that we've seen in real estate plays, especially Bangalore-based realtors, would you take a stab as to why the ancillaries of real estate companies are not doing well, especially on the wood space, when pipes, metals, everything is at a record high? Why are people not looking at Greenpanel or, for that matter, other plywood stocks?
Okay, the real estate has not been doing very well during the past 4 to 5 years. We have seen significant increase in inventories and working capital issues for real estate companies. So that has had an impact on our growth. But it started to improve. We have seen higher loan disbursements, home loan disbursements happening during the last 6 months, and that normally leads to a higher offtake in real estate, which will translate into growth for our industry. Typically, we are at the last stage of growth of real estate because it's only after the construction is completed and handed over to the residents that demand arises for furniture manufacturing. So I think yes, we are looking at strong growth volumes for the next 3 to 5 years.
Wonderful, Mr. Venkatramani. Thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts both on the MDF space and the future of Greenpanel Industries. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank
Greenpanel
you
at the
very much.
moment 331 for you, almost bouncing off its day's low, which was 324. Overall, the picture is a bit muted for uh, teak wood players as well as plywood players, but that's the state of play. so far. Let's get back to the markets, Tanya. 12 points higher on the Nifty. The Bank Nifty is again 12 points higher, 45,480. Lots of stocks buzzing, and let me take some names which are on the high beta space. Adani Ports, this is at 767, and as far as the Nifty is concerned, among the top gainers, 1.2% higher. Strong open interest, about 1% higher. Apart from that, if the PCR can show high beta counters, Tanya, we have seen Tejas Networks at about 840. Remember, the stock was down about 4-5% earlier last week. At the moment, 841. These are high beta stocks. They are buzzing really well. One stock that I want to focus on is UPL. It's a Nifty counter, and it has its earnings due today at about 629. It's in pretty bad shape. In fact, it was one of those stocks which was on my radar on the negative side. The most recent high that we've seen is 804, 629 ahead of earnings. And Maruti, Pawan mentioned that a strong set of numbers would be coming in. The counter at day's high, about 97.30. So even if the broader markets are flat, it's the space of high beta that's doing really well. Look at defense counters, look at PSU counters, look at pharma, and of course the Adani twins. Tanya, what are you watching at the fag end of the show?
Absolutely, Shail. I think it's going to be a stock specific day. Power Grid, ahead of its numbers, up 3%. And of course, we have NTPC on the back of numbers, up around 2% at 214 odd level. And some of the metal stocks also shining. And, let's see how this action pans out going forward. But I think it's going to be a tug of war today between bulls and bears.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a fight that's happening for decades, millennials and centuries, and I'm sure it's going to continue like it is from here onwards. But 2 or 3 stocks that I'd like to mark, which we had picked up on behalf of our analysts. Praj Industries, Dipan's pick, record high almost. We are seeing 431, 432. The all-time high is about 461, and Vaishali on her charts mentioned you would be looking at 490 in a short while from now, of course with requisite corrections. IDFC First Bank was another pick that Deepan left us with. Nice green uptick. It's opened gap up, 85 that I see on the charts, and of course Container Corporation of India from Vaishali. A nice uptick here, 690.35. The other stock that she mentioned was SBI Cards. Remember, it's a very strong fundamental stock, bouncing off its day's low of 825, now at 841. Tanya, the wrap up is yours.
Absolutely, and by the way, Praj Industries share, it is up over 400% in the last 5 years. So it's already a multi-bagger stock. And so that was, stocks that we discussed in today's show. And on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Shail, as always, for sharing wonderful, excellent data and, for being with us here on Business Today Television. And if you look at the markets right now, of course, it's going to be, a consolidation type of a day for the Indian markets, and let's see how the action pans out going forward. 19,653, that's the level for you. As far as Nifty is concerned, 66,197 is the level on Sensex, 38 points uptick there as well. And of course, it's a stock specific day, so we'll get you all the latest market updates, all the latest action that is happening in the markets. You don't have to go anywhere, you just have to stay tuned to Business Today Television. And also don't forget to share your feedback, your queries. That is something very important for us. So stay tuned for all the latest market updates, and many thanks for tuning in for now.